Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Start with asking for a motion to approve the September 5th, 2019 agenda.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. And moving on, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes of our August 1st, 2019 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
How come I'm not listed as present on this August 1st? Was I gone?
I don't think you were here.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
All the meetings run together, don't they?
Draw my question.
That's all right. So I think, I asked for anybody that's opposed or no, so I think we're good there. Seeing no objection from Sarah, I'll say we're good on that. So moving on to the first item on our agenda tonight, the preliminary and final plats for PC 2019-11 PV Saline Holdings. And I will ask Sarah to give a staff report on procedure.
Bradley's going to give his first staff report tonight.
Oh, man.
So,
All right.
be nice.
You're on camera too, so.
So typically, a preliminary plat receives approval from the Planning Commission. Planning Commission then approves with conditions, or disapproves the preliminary plat. If the Planning Commission approves the preliminary plat, subsequent final plats will then be reviewed by the Planning Commission. A recommendation is made by City Council for approval with conditions, or disapproval with final plat. In this case, the applicant is requesting the approval of both the preliminary plat and final plats. Staff supports this. Okay. Thank you. This is a public hearing? Okay.
Okay, so we're ready for the public hearing portion. I hereby open the public hearing for the preliminary plat. Is anybody here to speak on behalf from the public?
They're arguing over who's going to do it.
The applicant is here? Okay. Yeah, come on. This has changed. Thank you, sir. Can you tell us your name and who you're with for the record, please?
John Bauer, I'm with Miller Stouch Construction.
Okay. Welcome.
What we're doing is we're developing a property over off Celine Drive, just on the other side of the highway. It's one of the last lots over there. The owner owns this lot and the lot to the north. What we've done is separate the property into two lots, so this is part of the original lot sectioned off. It's going to be a 22,500 square foot warehouse, concrete tilt-up, which is very similar to what's over there now. Not a lot to it, really. Very small job.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? And well, thank you. That's all you have? Any questions? All right, thank you. Is anyone else here from the public? I don't think so, to speak on this matter. Well, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I move we close the public hearing at this time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Great. The public hearing is closed. I assume, so that was your presentation for the next thing on my list, so unless you have anything else to add. Just going down my checklist. So, staff presentation.
In analyzing the merits of any plat application, the municipal code identifies 7 criteria review when such an application is to be considered. In this case, all 7 criteria have been met for the preliminary plat and final. Staff recommends approval of both the preliminary plat and final plat. At this time, we ask the commission to make 2 motions, one for the preliminary plat and one for the final plat.
Great. Thank you. So we'll entertain a motion on the preliminary plat.
I move that preliminary plat PC 2019-11 be approved as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. And I will entertain a motion on the final plat for this matter.
I move that PC 2019-13 final plat be approved as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Great. Thank you for coming tonight.
This will be, the final plat will be on the September 17th city council agenda for final approval.
Great, thanks. Good job with your presentation.
Thank you.
Went well, I think, in my opinion. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, rezoning application, PC 2019-13, Yarco Devco LLC. Staff report on procedure, please.
So this application is for a zoning map amendment. It is a property that is owned by the city, but we have a purchase option agreement with the developer who made the application in this case. This is another public hearing item. We did mail notices to people within 185 feet and posted signs and advertised it in the Kansas City Star. We have had a few inquiries. Somebody came up to the counter right before this meeting, but nobody, mostly to ask questions. So we know the letters are received. The developer is here to give you their overview of their project.
So just on this checklist, I mean, do we have to follow this? Because I know last time, would it make more sense to have the applicant presentation before we open a public hearing? I know it doesn't really matter tonight, or does it matter at all?
It's really up to you,
Okay.
how you would prefer to do it.
Okay. I mean, Ryan, would you like to come up and say a few words?
This project we tried to submit last year for.
Sit down and introduce yourself and speak. Budget works.
Now you're on. Okay. This property.
Introduce yourself, please.
Sorry, Ryan Toll, 2913 Swift. Yep, I'm working with Yarco Devco, which is Yarco Companies, pretty big developer management company in Kansas City, to resubmit the tax credit application we submitted last year, 48 units of mixed income artist lofts with a art gallery space that would go in there, kind of wedged in as an modified L-shaped building between Tays and the Y. We didn't get funded last year. We're more optimistic this year that we would get funded. We have we got an extension from the city on the purchase option, and we'll submit September 27th. We'll find out by the end of the year whether we're funded or not. Why we're optimistic, one is my partner. They're, like I said, a well-known quantity especially the mixed income, affordable housing development world and mixed use world. And then the other thing is I had more time basically to work out a better deal with the Y and some other groups that are involved. We're probably bringing in interurban art house. That's not done yet, but with the Y, we've worked out a deal with Tina and her group over there to basically deliver free memberships to everyone at the property. They're subsidizing about 13 grand a year. We're subsidizing about 17 grand a year. So we think it's a win-win-win. So that's going to help the application. More members, good for the people living there too. So like I said, we're optimistic. The zoning, ordinance, I was not a very good advisor on the zoning ordinance changes because I should have caught this that it was changing, but I think it's just kind of a technicality. But obviously we get 10 points in our application if the zoning's in place before the application, so that was why there was some urgency to get it changed now. Last year when we submitted, it was already okay it was already zoned for it, but now it's not. So that's why we're here today.
Okay. Any questions, Ryan?
Just one, Ryan. You mentioned you talked to the Y. What about Tays?
I've talked to the city about Tays, and we obviously as a use, it's great for as a neighbor. I think there's going to be a conversation based on the property line on the parking. That's about the only thing I see. I think otherwise it's going to be a complementary relationship because their parking's going to be, I would call it 10 to 10. Our parking's the other 10 to 10 because our people are mostly going to, obviously most of them are going to be at work during the day. They're not going to need it overnight. So I don't think there's going to be an issue, but I know just looking at property lines and things, they've been leaning over that line, and the city's aware of that for a while. But I think especially with the new parking on the street, and then we've got one-to-one parking in our plan, so I don't see an issue there.
Okay.
Is the only question I had is, you mentioned the funding. If you don't get the funding, is the project then not expected to go through, or would it go through without it?
I mean, I think we'd have to deal with it at that point and talk to the city and see if we want to try again, if the city would be okay with that, or if we just need to say, hey, it's not going to happen. And because it's a small project, it's we think a high quality project, so it's cost a certain amount to build it. It's hard to get economies of scale on a 48 unit building to try to go pure market rate, even with North Kansas City rents going up. So I think it's perfect as a mixed income deal, but it would be hard to make that work as a market rate deal. So.
Any questions?
Have you acquired some property actually from over there closer to the Y?
That's part of the option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
That's
now,
that's city-owned ground too.
there is kind of a path down through there that the city made that so that fire trucks and stuff like that could get down through there.
Yep, and that's in the option, contemplating the option that we'd have to take care of
Yeah,
that. Yeah, because I think it was so the fire trucks can fit and get to that side of the Y.
And if this happens, is that going to be able to maintain that, or?
Yes, that's outside the 43 feet.
Yeah.
And we've already, it's part of our purchase option that if they were to disturb that as part of the, I don't know if it's spelled out on the purchase or if we just talked about it. If they disturb that during the course of construction, they would have to reconstruct it for us. So if you notice on the aerial, there, it looks like a very tiny sidewalk that makes an arc kind of around the corner of the community center. The underneath that grass, it's reinforced to allow for emergency apparatus to drive through there. Their driving surface is actually on the inside of that curve, which is perfect because 43 feet just gets almost to the outside of that curve. So yeah, that's why it's 43 feet and not any bigger number, really.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact language, but I believe that it's covered in the option, though.
Questions? Great, thanks, Ryan. So I'll hereby open the public hearing, and seeing no one here, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Great. Staff presentation.
So going back to something Ryan said about they made this application last year and weren't successful, and why didn't we do this last year? Our previous zoning ordinance allowed residential uses in the M1 district. And with the update, we no longer do. We removed those residential uses as permitted from the M1 and M2 zoning districts. And so in order to get those extra 10 points for their application, this rezoning action is required before they make the application, which is why you're hearing it this month. We have new criteria for reviewing rezoning applications. We've had to start updating all of our staff reports. So you'll see the 9 criteria for evaluating the application in the staff report. I would note we acquired this property in 2001. It was the old White Castle, if you remember that far. And then demolished the building in 2002. The property has been undeveloped since that time. The city has, over the years, occasionally entertained a development idea, and just nothing has happened. So, as Ryan said, their purchase option runs through the end of the year. So at the end of the year, either they'll be successful and have acquired the property from us and moving forward, or if they're unsuccessful, then we will have a conversation at that point, what they're interested in doing and what the city council is interested in doing. But we could always entertain a future rezoning option if we get to the end of the year and they're not successful and plans change. We do find that this would be compatible with the suburban commercial character area for this area. That's what it's designated as in the master plan. The proposed use for an apartment building is not expected to detrimentally affect the nearby property. The industrial uses to the south are light industrial, kind of logistics distribution, but the parking lots for these 2 developments would be next to each other because of the way the building is oriented on the lot. So we don't really have a lot of concerns about incompatibility. I'd be happy to answer any questions about these review criteria if there's anything you'd like me to get into more detail on. But ultimately, staff does recommend approval of the rezoning that's before you tonight.
Questions?
No, I just wish you the best of luck with your application.
City's been great, I mean, with supporting us, and I know MHCC likes the site, and I think with one more cycle here, last year was kind of funky with the state credit going away. They're still not there, but by using Yarco, there's some other funding sources from U.S. Bank, who would be the limited partner, just like they were the limited partner on Rainin, when I worked for Rainin, all the 4 phases over there, so very reliable equity player. We're able to use a donation credit, we think, AHAB credit to fill the gap on some things. So, like I said, it's about as strong as the application I think we can put in, and between the city's, support that's anticipated and has been before, and the city's investment, we think it's a good investment along Armour. We think it's going to be a strong application.
Great. Best of luck.
Thanks.
The chair will entertain a motion on this case.
I move that we approve the rezoning application, PC 2019-13 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, everybody.
This will also appear on the September 17th City Council agenda for final approval. They will also consider a resolution of support for the application along with this.
Great. Thanks. Perfect. So we have some training to do.
Actually, we would like to, we don't want to broadcast the webinar because that would violate our license agreement for that. So if, we should have had you amend your agenda to move that to the end, and we'll do comments first and then adjourn and then do that.
Got it. I just moved it, so.
All right.
Any comments from the public? Seeing no public. Comments from staff?
I would note that we, this Saturday from 9:30 to 11:30, have the community workshop for the bicycle master plan, the Parks and Rec Center. It's a open house style, so you can drop in anytime between 9:30 and 11:30, and hope that you'll plan to attend that. Our next meeting with the Planning Commission is October 3rd. We are expecting an application on your agenda for October 3rd. And then the training that we're doing, I think we mentioned this last month, it's 3 short modules. The one tonight is about staff reports. Next month we'll do managing the Planning Commission meeting, and then third is legal decision-making for planning commissions. It's been a little while since we did training. We had a request about doing training about, staff reports and managing the meeting. So these are 25 minute little videos. I actually know some of the people in them, so it'll be interesting. And then they're kind of general for planning commissions like ours, and planning commissions that are busier. So I think it'll be interesting. So that's our training for the next 3 months. That's all I have.
Great. Comments from commissioners? No.
I just have one. I'm sure you're aware of all the social media storm going on about the new Armour Road. Do we have any idea the timing of more signage, more formal direction? People are confused as heck.
Well, we put signage on how to park in the new parking spaces out along the street yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's out there. The city council will discuss it at their work session on the 17th.
Okay. Okay.
In my experience, it'll just take some time for people to get used to it.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
that sounds kind of like a.
No,
not
I've been
a
telling everybody just
answer.
be patient, but
Yeah.
oh my gosh, they're just blowing up social media. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's okay. It's a place to vent, but you drive through it a few times and people will get you. It's just, I remember.
People driving on it right now. You can
Yeah.
going down the bike.
I remember the back end angle parking on Delaware Street in the River Market where the streetcar runs, and at first people could not do it at all, and it was a total mess. And then now people just do it. So I think it'll just take some time to get used to.
Has anybody ridden the bike lanes down Armour? They're great. I did too. Well, they're great.
I've seen, I've seen quite a few people using the crosswalks. I come up
They're
from
really
home
nice.
that way sometimes and just foot traffic back and forth to YMCA. That's really, I think it helps a ton with visibility. And I also wanted to say, I think the bump outs that we made on Howell have made a big difference. So I cross back and forth to the park weekly, and traffic is moving much, much slower. So we've,
Raised cross.
well, the pinch points at the
Oh, yeah,
intersection,
yeah.
it definitely gets
would
people,
agree.
people weren't slowing down
I would
for
agree.
the signs or monitoring or police presence, but that has definitely caused people to slow down and makes it less intimidating to walk across there.
Now people stop without even people in the crosswalk.
Yeah.
Now they just stop there, so.
You know, you got, North Kansas City didn't invent this, right? I see it all over the country. You know, a lot of cities like ours are doing this stuff, so, you know, it's a little hard to balance that with your constituents when they're always in your face about it. But if I can give them some hope,
I do think 16th is giving you a little bit of relief. You know, obviously having that, you can.
there's a lot of complaining about the back streets. I mean, I guess people are taking the back streets, which is causing a problem. I don't know that that will last, because those will become congested too, and then people won't want to go there either, so. I was just curious if there was I mean, is it pretty much done? The signage went up yesterday. People are going to be a little bit better educated.
The only thing that's not finished in this construction is putting out delineators.
Okay.
Other than that, you know, the signage we have is temporary signage to help educate people on, you know, the parking. But of the permanent signage that's there has all been installed.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. I've had a number of people that just chew on me, you know, because of this happening. But the other day, what happened is this guy was laughing at me for being so damn stupid to do this. And, you know, I don't mind being mad at, but I hate to be laughed at. I mean,
Yeah, I can understand that.
Fair enough, yeah.
People don't like change, they just don't.
Yeah, that sounds like you just had a person who was being rude. I mean,
I do see the congestion in the mornings. I have to travel that route also. And I mean, when you go from 3 lanes down to 1, you know, fairly quickly, it does, you know, especially people coming off of 29. That's why I was saying 16th does give a little bit of relief, but it's still, I mean, it's something. And you've got a ton of people going down Armour to get to Burlington to go across the bridge. And I think it's a pretty big wedge.
Yeah. Okay. Seeing no more comments, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. We're adjourned.